duiker here, and Hosana is just behind it. So we managed to find Hosana not too far from where those tracks were just now, and he's busy chasing this duiker through this drainage section. Now this duiker has no idea that he is here at the moment, so he's busy trying to stalk it and get close. And how cool is that? Look at his head just peeking over the drainage section, and he was running around and going all over the place, and I was a bit kind of worried as to what he was doing. I thought he was just having a bit of a game, but you can see what he's actually stalking. Now unfortunately another vehicle has just arrived, so the duiker has just run off a little bit, but he seems to be watching to his right as well, so I don't know if maybe there's another one that he can see at the moment, but he is definitely in full stalk mode and is busy trying to hunt these duiker at the moment. It is really cool to see him going about it, and he's being super clever. He's gotten himself into a deep gully system, and he's following the gully around, and that's allowing him to get right up close without anybody seeing him. And all he does is then just pop up on top of the ridge, and he can then follow from there. And you can see that little tail is definitely twitching. Now you see what he's doing? He goes back down into the gully, and then he follows that little gully shape along, and is able to, he's going to pounce on something, or jump at least. But he's got the crazies this morning, as they say, so he's running around like an absolute hooligan trying to kind of keep up with these duiker, and we've had a rough time trying to keep up with him. It's not easy in here, to say the least, and he keeps running around all over the place. Is definitely keeping us on our toes. But look at the tail. The tail is telling us a story of just how interested he is. Look, also he's now getting much lower, where he's now going to sit and watch. Now what I'm going to do is just go slightly forward, just to check if we can just keep an eye on what's going on, and whether or not there is that prey item is still very close to him. He's definitely learning how to do things very quickly. Now you see, look, he's gotten himself into a position where, what are you chasing now? Now he's chasing birds. So there goes a poor button quail that's just been chased. Hosana, what are you up to this morning? Now where he's going is going to be a bit of a problem to keep up with him. Luckily Aubrey is here and he's on the bank. I've got to try and figure out a way to get to where he is. You can see he's now rolling around. What are you up to this morning, mister? You are being an absolute character. So it's just now, when we were looking at his tracks, he obviously was walking right behind us, because when we came back round, his tracks were on top of ours and there was a nice big fresh pile of dung. So it seems as though he kind of said, hang on a second, you guys drove right past me, come back. And look at him, he is in full play mode this morning. So like I say, the crazies have gotten hold of him. I don't know why he's running around and jumping and going crazy like he is. Maybe it's the weather this morning. It's nice and cool after 2 hot days, and that's why he can be the way that he is. And he's also obviously got a full belly, so lots of energy to burn as well. But I don't think he's hunting seriously anymore. I think it's a situation now that he realizes the duiker's run away, and so he's more just playing around and carrying on. There he goes again. Poor little Franklin has just been chased as well. Oh, it's all happening. How cool is this though? He's being an absolute character this morning. Now, I don't know whether or not we're going to be able to follow him much further. Just trying to think. VM, what do you think here? Go down this side. So, VM can see behind me a lot better than what I can, so I was hoping we could maybe just try and get it up and across, but we're going to go up here instead. Just want to make sure that we've got our low range engaged as we go up here. I can't see him anymore, but I think he's just here in front of us. I don't think he's gone too far. It's a horrible place to be following a leopard, that's for sure. It's not easy in here at all. Luckily there's a nice path that's been forged, because I followed Tingana and Kuchava here once before, and so that helped with being able to actually get in, and there's a pathway to go through. But there he is, he's now lying on the sand itself. It's not the ideal view just yet, but given how much he's been moving this morning, I don't think we need to stress too much. I think he's probably going to be up and moving again fairly quickly, and there we go. And now he's running. Are you going to go up this tree for us? Come on. There's a fallen over tree that he's busy sniffing around on, so hopefully he's going to go up there. No, he's decided he's not doing that, although he is heading towards where it's going to be easier to climb. What are you doing, Hosana? don't think he even knows. He's just being a young boy, I suppose, and fair enough. He's had to be an adult and behave like an adult over the last little bit when he was still in his formative years and sort of still been with his mom and should have been playing around. So we can allow him to have mornings like this where he goes a bit crazy and runs around like a hooligan and pounces and chases. What are you doing? I feel sorry for every francolin that's in his path today, because everybody's going to get chased. Birds, francolins, lizards. I think he's in that kind of mood where everything's going to be a game to him. I can hear some birds quite close by that he seems as though he's listening to as well. He's definitely picked up something. You can see how his ears have perked up all of a sudden. It might not be anything too serious in terms of hunting, but there's definitely something that's alerted him and piqued his interest. Right, let's try and see if we can keep up with him through this horrible stuff. It's not going to be very easy, that's for sure. Trying to make sure that we don't go sliding down the bank. Right, now while I do this, I'm going to try and keep up with Husana through this horrible stuff, but I believe Brent is still out and about, and he's got some of the most amazing... Well, Husana is still carrying on with his shenanigans. He's all over the place, running around, so I'm trying to keep up with him in these thickets. It's not very easy at all, and he's now looks as though he's found himself somewhere to have a spot of water. I was hoping he was going to drink at a slightly better place than where he is now. He was heading straight towards that pan where we had him the other day, but he's decided that he's rather going to drink out of a small puddle like this. So I'm just going to try and position ourselves so we can actually see him drinking, and it's going to be quite nice because he's actually quite close, and so he's in a situation where he's right next to us, and cats will do this. You'll find leopard and lions will rather drink out of small little puddles like this than going to the really big ones, because they know that often those will house predators like crocodiles, and so this is not going to be a crocodile inside there, and he can drink in relative safety, and that's why he's going to them. It's obviously not ideal for our perspective because he's drinking out of almost like a bowl and he puts his head down and then it's difficult with all the grass, but at least we can see nicely him kind of out in the open. At least he's chosen a fairly open spot to have a little drink. You can see how that drinking process works. I was talking about yesterday, it would be nice to have seen it, but we've got a nice kind of side-on view of it, and you can actually see how he puts his tongue down, and then as his tongue pulls up, the hair on his tongue is causing surface tension to pull that water up with him, and so as that happens, the droplets pull up, and he then closes his mouth quickly behind the tongue, and that's actually how they get water in the mouth. He's not scooping it up, he's not making like a hand to scoop it up or to curl his tongue to get it up like that. It's all just to do with surface tension. But he's a thirsty boy, and I'm not surprised given the amount of running around he's done just since we've been with him alone. And it seems as though he must have had a morning of games, because he's been up and down all over the place and jumping and running, and there's a few francolins that are close by that might get Hosana's next a bit of attention. But isn't he just turning into the most beautiful cat? There's another little water point. You're going to drink out of this one too? Yes, we're going to try and check all of them. What have you found? Now you can see he's putting his paws in and they're getting wet, and so he's getting some sort of something out of that water. I don't know, maybe it was a leaf or something like that he was trying to find, but is something that was piquing his interest, and only Hosana could be that way. Right, let's see where he's going to go from here. I think he's going to end up close to this little waterhole or pangolin track, and wonder if he's not going to go up this termite mound. Yes, this is where he's going to go. We're going to go up to the termite mound, have a little look around, see what's there. See how when he goes up the mound, he was actually keeping his head quite low in case something was lurking close by. Now the problem with here is that it is very, very thick, and so there's not too much of a gap. I'm going to try and see, Viam, do you have a gap through there? Let me go back a little bit for Viam. There we go. So there is Hosana on top of the termite mound. It's a gap of about 1 centimeter, so we can't really move around too much, but very nice to see as well. And this is typical of cats, is that they will use these termite mounds regularly to try and find a way to get a little bit more elevation, see what's around them, check what's going on. And I wonder if he's not going to settle on top there. Looks like he's having a little sniff around, and there's that long white tail that's so expressive. Nope, we're going straight through, so I think we're going to go towards Pangolin Track Pan, is what I'm going to call it. It doesn't actually have a name, but that's what I'm going to call it for now. The problem is there's a number of other vehicles behind us, so I'm going to try and find a different way through so we can get ahead of Hosana a little bit and have him walking towards us rather than the other way around. Now, I believe we are not the only one that's had some luck this morning when it comes to spots. It sounds like Scotty Dyson has found his spotty creatures too to complete. Well, he's not so much stalking as that he's just watching some francolins going about their business, and he might try and chase them. I think he will eventually. You can see that bum is wiggling, his attention is completely focused. The thing is, though, the francolins are busy walking away from him, so if he was going to have pounced, he should have done it by now. Otherwise, he's got no chance whatsoever. I think he's going to get spotted fairly soon, and the francolins will go. But that might not stop Hosana. There you go. You can see he's now sitting bolt upright. He's realized that those francolins have moved off further than what he needed in order to pounce on them, and so, well, that's the end of that. And he's no longer now hunting. He's just sitting and relaxing and resting. And I think this is an area that he's probably going to start resting for the day. Although it's overcast conditions, it might mean that he moves around a little bit more. Might head down towards Twin Dams and go and check that out. But I think that he's going to start settling down a little bit. I don't think he's going to be as mobile as what we've seen him this morning. This is an area that he knows very well. We found him here 2-3 days ago, just resting at this pan, and so I think we're going to see a similar situation with Hosana, where he's just going to take it easy and rest a little bit more and kind of just take it as it comes for the day. Also, I can see a bit of blue sky in the cloud layer, which means I think we're going to have a similar situation to what Byron had yesterday, which was overcast, sort of dreary weather to start the day, and then the sun breaking out and it becoming really quite hot as time went on during the day. So I think we're going to have a similar situation. So I would imagine once he finds a nice little place that's got some water and some shade, he's going to end up settling for the duration of the hot parts of the day. Also, the thing is that this pan is going to attract quite a few different herbivores. There'll be impalas and nyala and duiker and all kinds of things that come and drink here, so it's a great place if he's wanting to stalk to spend time. It's thick, it's dense, he's able then to be able to hunt whatever would be coming to drink. He's got a lot of cover to work with, and so it's a great place for him if he does want to learn how to hunt effectively at one of these places. Now he's going to probably walk straight past us. He's just coming down the road towards us. Hello, Hosana. So he is going to kind of keep moving towards the car, which is really cool. It's quite special when you have a situation like this, when you get a leopard that walks right towards you. You can see he's just coming past the front of the vehicle now. So there's my head to get that out the way. And there he goes, his little tail disappearing and emerging out on the other side. Oh, nice of you to stop here, close to us as well. Isn't he beautiful? And he's going straight towards this little pan system, so I'm pretty sure he's going to end up resting here. Although, knowing Hosana and knowing that the weather is cool enough, and the fact that he seems to be interested in about anything that even remotely moves, I wouldn't be surprised if he continues his way southwards. Leopards sometimes will do the full bum wiggle like house cats do before pouncing. So just now, Hosana was doing it as the francolins were kind of coming towards him. Once the francolins moved away slightly, he stopped, but they do it sometimes. If it's something like an impala, then no, generally not, because they're not trying to sort of show themselves up. They don't want to kind of give the idea that they are there, and so they try and keep as still as possible until such time as they actually go. But there is a little kind of wiggle of the bum just to get those feet in the right place and kind of prep them for this launch when they're going to start hunting. Now, what are you stalking, Hosana? No, you can't stalk anything there, so I'm just going to come around because he's just over there. I'm just looking to see if there isn't any sign of anything in terms of prey animals. I don't see any prey animals, so I think he's just getting to the point where he's just kind of checking around and making sure there isn't something here. Now, interestingly enough, is we were here, it was 3 days ago that we were here, and there was a lot more water than what we're currently seeing now. So if you have a look in front of him, there was that big water point there. There was no mud showing towards the middle. Now you can see in this area here, there's a lot of mud showing, and the other water point right close to me here was full of water. Now you can see there that that water is completely dried up, and so it just goes to show that this heat, the amount of water that is going to dissipate and disappear, is going to be very, very quick. And so if we don't get rain again in the next few days, I would imagine a lot of this is going to go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go round so that I can give the guys space and try and give them a little bit of area so that they can see as well, because a number of the guys are behind me and they can't see too much. Now I believe Taylor has got another predator for us this morning, which is quite amazing, and it's nesting. Fancy hairstyle. I'm not quite sure what Taylor's on about. I don't really know what she's talking about at the moment. I have a cap on, which means that my hairstyle is in no way good at all. So there's VM just showing you all what my hairstyle looks like. It hasn't been cut for a few weeks, so it's all over the place at the moment, and so it doesn't look good at all. So I don't know why Taylor's saying that, but really cool sighting. Imagine a nesting crocodile. That would be really cool to see here. In fact, at Chitwa Dam, they used to nest there quite often, and so it's going to be interesting to see. Maybe this year we'll get them nesting. Now's the time of the year that the crocodiles do nest, and so it's the best time to look for them. So we must maybe head towards Chitwa Dam and just see if that female is potentially nesting. Now Hosana has gone from active cat to flat cat, and he has now decided he is tired. He's found himself a termite mound to rest. We're right next to that pan that we found him the other day. He got up onto this mound and then just proceeded to flop down as though he's exhausted. And well, I suppose we can't blame him. He's been all over the show this morning and provided us with just the most magical morning of gamesmanship, and he's been a real treat this morning. Almost back to his cub days with the way that he behaved, and so I suppose we can't blame him for being a little on the tired side. No, well, not many of those leopards will keep those baby blue eyes. Unfortunately, mostly what happens is that the ones with those baby blue eyes will eventually fade a little bit. So if you look at Tiani, she had sapphire blue eyes when she was a baby. They were electric blue, and they then slowly but surely have faded, and now they're a light shade of blue. There is 1 or 2 leopards that I have seen that have quite bluish eyes, a little bit more blue than even Tiani, and they kind of keep them through their life, but it's never that blue that we see when they're cubs. Unfortunately, with time, it does start to just fade a little bit and starts to get a little bit duller and not as nearly as bright as when they're cubs, which is a bit of a shame, because it would be amazing to see a leopard with sapphire blue eyes walking around. It would be the most beautiful thing to see, but it does fade a little bit. Same as the green sometimes, and browns, you do tend to find that their eyes lighten up a little bit and they get a lot less color as they go on. But you can see, look at his breathing today in comparison to yesterday, just how much slower and more constant it is. It's not really as fast and as sort of panicky as what it was yesterday when he was hot and tired and full. Today it's a lot more sort of normal breathing pattern that he's got. And just look at those beautiful spots. We really have been spoilt with these kind of close-up views of Husana, and I think we must have pretty much footage of his entire body at the moment up close, because yesterday we did the underside, and so VM's now showing you the top side of what Husana looks like. So if we ever even just had a glimpse of him, I would imagine we would be able to do spot pattern recognitions from all of these kind of visuals that we've got at the moment, which is really cool. Now, I think that Hosana, like I was saying earlier, is going to start spending time sleeping. Now, this ear over here, I was saying to VM, and I were chatting about it now. VM said he noticed it yesterday, but just behind that ear is a lot of raw sections. It looks like he might have had a little scrap with somebody else. There's a few little kind of claw marks and bite marks, and so if it was seen yesterday, I wonder if maybe Tundi or Tumba, that little altercation with Tumba the other day or something, has gotten hold of his ear, because he's got a few little cuts and scrapes there, which is fairly normal for a male leopard. You'll find that they get a lot of that kind of thing. It doesn't look like ticks or him scratching excessively from something like mange or something like that. It looks more like he's just caught a claw to the back of the ear or something like that, which I suppose is very possible. Remember, when leopards do fight, they'll kind of strike out with those paws, and sometimes they do just nick each other around the ears area, and it's nothing to worry about. It's not going to hurt him in any way. He's not going to be sore. He's not going to really not recover from it. He'll be absolutely fine. It's just going to be a bit raw for a few days, and then it will start covering up and the fur will start to grow back again. But interesting to see that he's slowly but surely now starting to collect little nicks in the ears and little cuts and scars and scrapes, and eventually once he's much older that will be commonplace. So Wiem is showing you two spider hunting wasps that are busy flying around Hosana there. I don't know if you can see them. They're just busy moving around and kind of flying and buzzing around Hosana's head. But I believe Brent has been successful in finding some spots of his own, so let's go across to him.